Hi guys, Bolts96 here, but the O is a 0, and this is a bit of an impromptu follow-up from the last video. The last video I did, if you haven't watched it, please do go back and check it out, was grading and picking the best under-21 player from each Premier League team. So I decided this week what I'll do is have a look at those 20 players that I picked and make a best starting 11 out of those. So again, please do go back and check the last video if you want to see the full list of players, but for now, here's the best 11. Goalkeeper James Trafford, first up in goal, and it is the only goalkeeper who I picked within my gradings last week. I did give an honourable mention to Verbruggen at Brighton, but other than that, there is no competition for Trafford. James Trafford is a really solid young goalkeeper who shone in the under-21s Euros, which immediately thrust him into the position of being one of the most sought after young goalkeepers around. It was Burnley who ended up nabbing him up, and he has gone straight into the lineup, having played every minute so far in the league this season. It hasn't been going too great for him with 25 goals conceded, putting him in second place for most goals conceded, but that can be attributed to the team as a whole rather than just him, with his average match rating putting him at joint 5th in the whole team, and so one of the higher performers. He has a lot of quality and just needs to continue his development to really push on. Right back Tino Livramento, next up in it is a player who yet again was the only right back I chose in all of the last video. Livramento is a quality defender who attracted a heck of a lot of suitors when he first broke into the Southampton team, hence why Newcastle were willing to spend a big sum to get him in. He has had troubles with injuries in the past and he isn't getting a lot of game time so far this season, although you can't blame him for that when he has Trippier ahead of him. The lad has a lot of quality, and if he can keep those injuries in check, he is going to become a top player. Yes, he is behind Trippier in the pecking order for now, but having the next couple of seasons to learn from him will be priceless, and I wouldn't be surprised if we'd be looking at one of the better right backs in the league in a couple of seasons time. Left back Destiny Udogie, I do like Hugo Bueno, who was in the last list for Wolves, but I don't think you could look past Destiny Udogie. Having been on loan at Udinese last season, he has arrived at Spurs this season with a point to prove under a new manager. Boy, is he delivering. He has earned his spot within the team with an average match rating of 7, 2.8 tackles per game, 1.1 blocks per game, and 2.6 clearances per game, which makes him the second highest performing defender at the club behind Pedro Porro this season. Fantastic left back, and still at only 20 years of age. It's only going to get better. Centre backs Jared Branthwaite and Josko Gvardiol. I don't think there is any question with this one. Both are left-footed defenders, but I'm going to opt for Branthwaite on the right and Gvardiol on the left. Both are tall, strong, fast, and can play the ball about a bit. The perfect example of a modern-day defender. Branthwaite has come back from a loan spell and has managed to content himself in the heart of the defence immediately. The team is struggling, but he seems to be an upgrade on the options that they had last season. Just look at his performance in the derby for proof of that. Then turning to Gvardiol, and what more can I say about him that hasn't been said already? Despite his young age, Gvardiol plays like a seasoned defender. When you match that vision with his physical attributes, the result is frightening, and he is nothing short of a phenomenon. These two in the middle will be superb together, and they round off what I think it's a very solid defence. Centre mids Ryan Gravenberch and Moises Caicedo. Moving on to the midfield now, and these two speak for themselves. Ryan Gravenberch has moved to Liverpool this summer after not getting as many chances as he would have hoped in a Bayern shirt the previous season, but there was never any doubt that he's a quality player, and he has been proving thus far. The way he plays is very reminiscent of Paul Pogba for me, and if he can mould into prime Pogba, Liverpool will be onto an almighty player within that midfield. Then onto the Premier League's most expensive ever transfer, Moises Caicedo, who hasn't been quite as good as Chelsea would have hoped so far, but he hasn't been bad by any stretch, and it is still early doors. The lad has so much talent, and his stats, particularly defensively last season, evidence this perfectly. These two players aren't afraid to do the doggy work, both being able to defend, Caicedo being the better at this, and both being able to support the attack, Gravenberch being the better at this. I'd need two centre mids like these two in this formation, and I'd be very confident in trusting this midfield. Right wing Michael Olise. On the right side of the wing, I've picked the only man to actually refuse Chelsea this summer. Michael Olise is a fantastic footballer, and I actually don't think he gets enough plaudits considering he is still so young. This lad was 4th in the whole league for most assists last season and was only 1 assist behind second place. The rest of the top 10, with the exception of James Maddison, all played for one of the top 6 teams. For Elise to be getting those sorts of numbers in a Crystal Palace team who don't score a lot of goals is outrageous and deserves more recognition. His delivery is superb, and although I do think his goal output needs to improve, he has shown that he can get the odd important goal himself. Exceptional talent and earns his spot in the team. Left wing Alejandro Garnacho, switching our sides to the other side, and I've chosen the young Manchester United Argentinian to occupy that spot. He's just such an exciting player, really, isn't he? Fast, tricky, likes to run at defenders, and has the ability to get a goal. He's everything you want from your winger. Last season he managed to score 3 goals and get 2 assists in 19 Premier League appearances, which at first glance seems pretty decent, but it wouldn't set the world alight. If you look at his minutes played though, 559, which equates to around 6 full games, and that goal output suddenly becomes absolutely insane. The lad does naturally play on the same side as Rashford, which might be impacting his game time, but when he does play, he has been fantastic so far, and it will be very interesting to see how far he can go within this team. Centre forward Anthony Elanga. This was a tough call as I didn't really have an outright central attacking midfield option, so I'm treating this as a bit more of a centre forward hanging off the back of the main striker. I considered Kevin Schade from Brentford for this, but I think Elanga could probably do that role a bit better, and so I've gone for him. Naturally a winger, but can play across that front three. He's good with the ball at his feet, and I think he could do well in this position. Yet another fast and tricky young player. He is tough for defenders to handle, and he has it within him to be able to score some important goals. He's probably the weakest link within the front 4 attacking players, but putting him in this spot would mean that he is less at risk of being targeted, and to be fair, he is a very good player anyway, so I think he'd do a very solid job there. Striker Evan Ferguson, finishing up now with the best teenage striker in the league. Evan Ferguson is absolutely brilliant, isn't he? The physicality of this lad at such a young age is terrifying to say the least. So powerful and strong, he can beat most defenders in duels. Then you look at his actual footballing ability and just wow. Such a lethal finisher. He usually finds the net when given the opportunity. I really do think that if he continues on this trajectory, he won't just be one of the best strikers in the league, he'll be one of the best strikers in Europe. Now that is obviously a lot, but the talent is there. He just needs to continue his development, continue improving, and continue scoring. If he can do all of those things, never mind just getting in this team, I think he'd be able to get into pretty much any team in the world. And there we are, guys. If you liked what you watched, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down in those comments what you thought of my picks, and please do check me out across all of my socials. I am on X, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch where I do all my streaming, and YouTube where you're watching this video, all under the same handle, Bolts96, but the O's are 0. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.